and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, January 23rd, 2018. Just want to read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk, and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice. Not making any recommendations, always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here with video number 312 in our regular Tuesday-Thursday morning video series. If you're a regular viewer, then you know I always start off with a look at the Russell Index. I always want to make sure that the overall markets are moving higher before I feature a chart and add a new name to my watch list. And for that, I use the Russell Index and the ETF IWM as my proxy. I also like to step back and take a look at it on the bigger time frame, the 5-year monthly. So we are looking at the 5-year monthly chart here. You can see there was this big wedge pattern that the Russell traded in through much of 2017 and then had this breakout late in the year. And here's the candle for the month of December, a little bit undecided, but so far for the month of January, it's a bullish looking candle up and over our diagonal line of support. Was resistance down here, is now support. So I'm going to move it away from the 5-year monthly to the 2-year weekly so we can better see how price is behaving. So there's that wedge, there's our move up and over, and that price strength seems to be continuing. Having said that, I'm going to zoom it in a little bit more. Sorry about that. I want you to note the candle from last week was, to me, this is a little bit of possible price exhaustion. So I want to make sure that we indeed do go higher from here. Let's pull it from the weekly to the daily. And yeah, so we've got price up and over our blue 8-day EMA, which we use as our guide, and that price strength continuing, but we want to make sure that it continues that way and doesn't want to start to reverse here. Looks like we're getting a bit of a mixed start to the day, so I'm going to be extra cautious. It's all about my picks being up and over the blue 8-day EMA. I also wanted to mention to stick around to the end of today's video because after I go through my analysis of our featured chart for today, I'm going to recap a handful of old Chart of the Day Cafe picks that look really great for today too. So stick around. And my Chart of the Day Cafe featured chart for this morning is Magna International Inc., ticker symbol MGA, trades on the New York Stock Exchange. I want to mention that this one is a dual listed Canadian-US company. They are a big Canadian auto and truck parts manufacturer. So they are listed on the TSX. For the purposes of today's video, we are looking at it on the US side, ticker symbol MGA. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the fundamentals underneath this company. You know me at Chart of the Day Cafe. It is all about the scores underneath my charts. And this one has a nice high value score, with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 7%, a current PE of 8.64, and a dividend yield of 1.90. So meets my score criteria. Let's get back to the chart. We're looking at the 2-year weekly. You can see on the 2-year weekly, it's in an uptrend. It sort of had this area of consolidation, making higher highs. Again, we're looking at the weekly chart. So bounced off support here, bounced off support here, here, and then it had this beautiful run. It looks as though it might be teeing up again here. It's all about the overall markets going higher from here, but I like the volume that came in several weeks ago, so I'm going to tuck into this area right here. Move it away from the 2-year weekly to the 6-month daily, and I'm going to put my little green circle and say we're looking for, at least I am looking for, I know everyone has their own way of doing things, I want to see a move, a bounce off this area of support, a move higher from here, and up and over the blue 8-day EMA with a 3 and 8 cross. I'm going to do a video about that 3 and 8 cross, but just as a quick reminder, I'm going to pull it into a very close study and say when the pink moves over the blue, that's my trigger. So I want to see a nice, healthy, bullish candle with a pink EMA crossing over the blue like that. And then as long as they can squeeze, I don't care if they squeeze, but I don't want them to cross. So I'm expecting to see a fresh 3 and 8 cross on Magna. We'll see what happens. Along with our new watch list pick, I also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and for that we're looking at IYT, which is the ETF for the transports. We're looking at the 2-year weekly chart. You can see overall on the 2-year trending higher. Like Magna, it had this area of consolidation and then lift from there. So the transport's still looking strong. I also like to take a look at seasonality, and for that I go over to equityclock.com. Really love this site. And as you can see, Magna International comes into seasonal favor at this time of year and has a nice run. No guarantee that happens again this year, but always good to know. I also take a spin over to FinBiz and see if I've got analyst support for my new pick. And as you can see, it's a bit choppy for Magna. Had a recent downgrade, but for the most part, they are positive, I would say. Also like to read a couple of articles about my new pick, and this one is from Investopedia. Can I get that? Industrial favorites for 2018, from auto parts to robots. And if you scroll down, this fellow identifies Magna as one of his favorite. His top conservative idea for 2018, Cabot Benjamin Graham Value Investor. So here's a little more about why he likes Magna. Worth noting, as he mentions in this in his coverage, NAFTA may have an impact, so you want to be careful. But it's all about price being up and over the blue and corralling it in with your rules. And so to quickly recap, I started today's video with a look at the Russell Index, and we note that overall the Russell is in an uptrend with price currently up and over the 8-day EMA on the daily chart. Having said that, it's in an area where you want to be extra careful. We looked at the sector that Magna's in, IYT, the transports, and it's in a strong uptrend on the 2-year chart. We looked at the Magna 2-year chart, and it's in an uptrend and at an area of possible price support and continuation higher. Emphasis on possible. Magna has a good value score, a good growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate of 7%, a dividend yield of 1.90. It does not have a 3 and 8 cross yet, so that's not checked. It does have seasonal favor. Analyst support, I'm going to let you decide whether it's got analyst support, and you can check your own box there. For me, it would be okay. And I forgot to mention sky is blue. So if Magna gets through this area, sky is blue. There's no overhead resistance on the weekly chart. So I like to see that as well. It's got a current PE of 8.64, and it looks as though earnings are on February 23rd. As I mentioned I was going to do at the beginning of today's video, I just want to run through a handful of old Chart of the Day Cafe picks. These ones look good for today as well, and I checked the scores on them this morning. They are still where I like them, with an emphasis on value and growth. The first one is FANG, which was our Chart of the Day Cafe pick. I believe it was November 30th, Green Circle Day. It came and retested our area of support, then took off from there, had a nice run, and I liked the little breakout yesterday. So FANG looks good. The next one is Facebook, which we've mentioned a few times. It was a Chart of the Day Cafe pick. When was the first time? Back here in June. Green Circle Day, we featured Facebook. We mentioned it again here, and I'm going to mention it again here on this breakout up and over the blue yesterday. Had a strong day. So Facebook looks interesting. Next one is Thor Industries, THO, which we had mentioned this one a while ago, so I'm going to put it on the weekly. Green Circle Day, Thor Industry was our Chart of the Day Cafe featured chart here. This is the weekly, as a reminder. It moved up and over the blue, had a beautiful run. I mentioned it again here. Beautiful run from there, and it looks as though it might be teeing up again in this area. So I like it up and over this area of new support. And if I pull it into the daily, we're starting to get the look of a fresh 3 and 8 cross here. So I like Thor Industries in this area. And finally, Whirlpool, which was a Chart of the Day Cafe pick a while ago. I've been doing these videos now for quite a while, so let's put it into the weekly. It was November 10th of 2016 on a bounce off this area of support. Whirlpool was featured. It had a beautiful run from there, and it looks as though it may tee up again this morning. So it's bouncing off my trend line, my long-term trend line, and again, weekly chart. But if I pull it into the daily, It's probably going to move up and over the blue today. Check the scores on it this morning. It doesn't it meets my criteria for value, but it's the catalyst this morning is the announcement from Trump about tariffs coming in on washers and dryers from foreign countries, which should give Whirlpool a boost. So just to be clear on the scores, it does meet my criteria. The growth and value scores are not super high, but the dividend is. So with the news coming out from Trump this morning, the growth and value will, I would think, come into this name. So I think Whirlpool looks interesting here in this area, especially with that generous dividend. Thank you for watching today's video, and if you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the red subscribe button on my YouTube homepage. Mine's white because I'm already a subscriber, but yours will be red if you are not. And I encourage you to go back and check out our old videos. That way you can, when I reference an old Chart of the Day Cafe pick like I did today with Fang, Facebook, Thor Industries, and Whirlpool, you can go back and take a look at my full video of when they were featured. With that, I will say goodbye. Have a great next couple of days, and my next video goes out on Thursday.